Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bumbershoot, covering life's chaos with humor and heart. Charity here with Rhonda.
Hello.
And Tracy.
Hi.
And today we have a guest. Are you guys excited?
Yes.
We have my sister Brandi here today.
Hello.
Yay!
Hi, Brandi.
Brandy's very intimidated by the mic, like the girls have been. But you know what? Today is the first day that we have all the sounds nailed. We don't have any skipping. Everything's working. Everyone has a mic. Everyone has headphones. We have come a long way in 4 weeks, you guys.
Yes, we have.
So excited. So proud of us. We've just been figuring it out as we go, but we're figuring it out. So this is exciting. All right. So the last couple of weeks we've been talking about me as a child and growing up and all the things, kind of giving a background, laying the groundwork for. Oh yeah. Sorry. Rhonda reminded me we have to shout out Poggiogliano Wine, our sponsors for our weekly wine. Thank you, Poggiogliano. Okay, that's what we were talking about, like the feedback and the things like I sniffed before I talk. So Rhonda's like, I know how you do when you did. I could hear it, but it is what it is, guys. Sorry, I don't know why I sniffed before I talk.
It's organic.
Anyway, so we've been just trying to lay like the groundwork, not groundwork, I don't know what you call it, but kind of like lay out the path of how I got to where I am today as far as why I do what I do, which we haven't even talked about why I do what we do. But last week we had on Mom, so that was exciting. She was funny because she listened to the podcast and was like, you're missing all these stories anyways. All the fun points of your stories. And I'm like, well, this is just really my perspective. I'm not really asking, I'm not doing a lot of research. I'm just basing all my storytelling off of what I remember. So anyway, that's why I thought it'd be fun to have Brandi on because, in a household, you have two different perspectives. When you grow up, you could be born to the same house, yet be totally different. And, your views are different as far as like what happened and scenarios and things like that. So, but also Brandi, she's the one sibling that I actually grew up in the house full time with. And so Brandi probably knows me better than anybody. I don't know if I'm going to let her share everything there is to know about me, but I just wanted to bring you in and kind of share some stories that we have with each other, and also share some significant times in our lives and our relationship that can maybe help others with theirs. So I will get emotional because I always get emotional when I think of my sister and I talk about her. Because I just love her so much. So anyway, look at me.
I love you too.
I'm excited.
Don't, because you need to get a box of tissues.
I know. Anyway, so Bran, I just kind of wanted to first, being born into the family, obviously don't remember when you were an infant, but kind of your perspective of me and our sisterhood and stuff is from when you can, as far back as you can remember, maybe.
Oh God, this is so on the spot.
Yeah, we don't rehearse anything.
No,
so just so you know,
we don't. This has been my life with my sister. Everything seems to be spontaneous with her, and I'm a planner, so this is way out of my comfort zone. However, from what I remember, I don't know, just there's a lot of memories that. I was being young. I don't actually have many memories of that stand out to me. I don't know if it was just because I was younger and just probably your little duckling kind of behind you. I don't know, but more of my memories that I can put my finger on is more of when I was older and could. All I do remember is always wanting to be like you.
So cute.
Don't make me cry, but I have to be honest on this. But I always you were always. I looked up to you, and I think a lot of it is because we are so alike in some ways, but we are very different in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Like this, and all the things, and standing up on stage, and I do a lot of things that I would never do for anybody else. But that's kind of I kind of wish. I guess my little in my other life, I would maybe be more like that, but
in your other life that you're gonna have someday.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you could kind of
if you could do it over.
If I could do it over, I would want to be like that, but I'm not, and
Same.
I have come out of my box and out of my shell a little bit with some things that she's had me do, but I like to retreat back. But anyways, I'm more of like, always wanted to be like you, and it also helped that she was so outgoing, had a lot of friends, had a lot of like, because she put herself out there all the time, and I was shy, more shy. I wasn't super shy, but once I was comfortable, I was in. But she could talk to anybody, walk up to anybody. So I kind of would like just be in her shadow of that. However, the sport that I chose of gymnastics took me away a lot during our years of growing up. I was gone all the time.
Yeah.
I'm gone probably from like when I leave to when I got home was about 5 to 6 hours an evening. So during all those extra times that you typically would have all these interactions with your sister, because we lived in the same household, I didn't have a lot of those during the week because I was very busy all the time, and it was like my whole life. So all the way through high school, when she graduated, I only went to my junior year. I ended up quitting, but she was already done with high school and on to her life. So what I do remember, obviously, was all the extra things, and she would throw her own birthday parties. I
still do.
And you still do.
That's awesome.
But yeah, she hasn't changed. And so even though like you might plan for stuff like that, she puts it at a whole nother level, as we all have experienced that know her. And so all those things, like I don't wish that I would stand up on stage and sing for my 50th birthday. Like I would, that's not what I'm saying. No. But there is just a lot of things I wish that I could just be a little bit more free and not care what people think. And I don't know if maybe part of that gymnastics could have maybe brought that into me. Everything was about perfection, and like, you know, everything had a plan, and you work for this, and gymnastics is all about perfection. They look at everything about your toe pointed and your leg straight. And so I don't know if that's maybe what's has shaped me a bit. I don't feel like I'm a perfectionist, but when it comes to what people think of me, I find myself being a little bit more, not as I gotten older, but as a kid, I was always worried about what people thought of me. And it was my identity that I had that was the only thing in the shadow, like I wasn't a shadow of, because I had gymnastics and she had everything else.
Well, in Mom's story, it touched on that. It was very funny because that was the thing that was hardest for me was you finding your own identity and kind of having something that I couldn't really be a part of except for spectator, you know? Yeah,
which isn't a whole lot for gymnastic spectators anyways, because you compete for 5 minutes in a 3-hour session. So, and she would go, but she stayed back a lot too, because I would go all weekend, and it's like, as a parent of athletes now, I get it. God bless her for even showing up at all, because like now, like you think about like how boring is that? But it's support, and obviously your family needs to support you and stuff. But it was that was like my identity, because like as we were growing up, more like things come a little bit more vivid. Obviously at high school, you're kind of becoming your own person and whatever. But it was always still I was always her shadow in the fact that like I was called Pint's Eyes.
Yes.
I was called then Half Pint. Then I was Little Camilla. I won't share the other nickname.
No, you can. It's funny because I was well endowed on top, and they used to call me
Camellans.
Our maiden name is Camilla, and so they'd call me Camellans. And then
then I was Little Camellans, and obviously being a gymnast, I had no body fat, so I had nothing at the time. And so I always had these nicknames. I kind of graduated into these names. Pint Size was my smallest name. Then I was always like Little Camilla or Little Charity. I even was like trash can my first day of freshman year. Not mean, why? They weren't being mean, but we had those at Temecula Valley. At Temecula Valley, they had at the time, it was a dirt parking lot with those trash cans like you see in the hood, kind of like, right? Yeah. They're dirty and they're gross. They're not covered with like a little flap thing. It's like they're open. So they put me in feet first, but I literally ran for my life. The football players thought it'd be really funny, all her friends.
How mean.
And it was out of love. It was out of love. They just wanted to kind of make a thing.
They loved her.
It was always like I just was always, and then she was I mean, I'm kind of fast forwarding everything, which is probably good because I can tell stories for
We're
days.
squirrels. We're sisters, guys.
But like even like she was homecoming queen, and she had like also I guess another nickname I had for her was Cindy Mancini from Can't Buy Me Love, because she drove that same car. Everybody wanted to be no charity or be like Charity, and I was living like it was always charity. But when it came to gymnastics, I had my own thing, and I was good at it, which was nice because I had something that
You could call your own.
call my own and be happy about the fact that like, and it was fun. I liked the fact that, but it was not a high school sport. I did clubs, so I didn't have like my peers seeing what I did, except for a couple, Chris Carrera and other friends that would come watch and stuff.
He still comes and watches all this.
I know, I love it.
Tried and true friend.
Totally.
Such a good friend.
So kind of like, I guess, I don't know if I even went off on a tangent, but basically kind of all those things are what it just was always, it wasn't a bad thing. I didn't have like a jealousy, like a bad jealousy feeling. I just wanted to be like my big sister.
And she was always so like supportive and kind. It was me who was jealous.
Which I learned
Yes.
when. I only learned this
Yeah, I told.
pretty recently, and I was like,
Aw.
are you, what?
What were you jealous of?
Well, so when Brandi started gymnastics and she really shined, I was very proud of her, and I would watch her. But, I think that when you grow up and as the center of attention, and like my mom said, demand, like she's like, you commanded attention, but you also sometimes demanded. And I think you're not used to sharing it. And so, but it was less that she got attention and more that our world had to revolve around gymnastics, because the time there was no local gyms. Our parents were driving her to Escondido, and then gymnastics meets. Like they went to all the gymnastics meets, and then I had a choice. I could go or stay home, but I was kind of getting lost in that. That's what I felt like. I wasn't, but that's what I felt like. And so, and I didn't really know at the time that's what was going on, but Mom was saying how she didn't realize that I did this. I would like beat Brandi up. I'd like sit on her and beat her up, and then she'd cry out for Mom, and I'd be like, shh, don't tell Mom I love you, and I'd kiss her all over.
It's true.
It's true. You were just telling one of the girls about that today.
Yeah, because one of the ones, I don't know why I remember this one so vividly, but she was so mad at me for something, and she would grab my arm and like clawed me with her nails and left marks on my arms. And I started to cry, and then she would pet me really heavily and go on my shoulder. She's like, stop crying. Okay, I love you. Don't tell Mom. Now, honestly, and I said this to my daughter, honestly, 9 out of 10 times I would not tell Mom.
Yeah, she didn't.
I listened to her, which is probably why I do the things I do for her now. But as soon as I looked at her cross-eyed, she'd go off and tell Mom on me all the time, and she would rat me out.
Charity.
I know.
That was my jealousy. It was more,
You didn't have a lot to do that. I was kind of a goody two-shoes when it came, because my mom somehow, even before all these phones and all this tracking mechanism and all that, Mom was the iPhone.
She was.
She figured everything out.
The eye in the sky.
Yeah.
Like, how did she know everything all the time?
She was very attentive to what was going on, so I was scared of my own shadow, so I didn't try a lot of things, so it wasn't a lot to get mad about, but like, she snuck out one time when we were, how old were you?
I don't know. I hadn't told that yet.
Oh.
It's okay. I think it was in like freshman year of high school for me. Remember, because we used to stay in the trailer when Grandma and Papa came.
That's right.
So I snuck out. I'll elaborate on that, but I won't take your time to do that.
Well, it was funny just because that was an opportunity to just throw her under the bus, even though she cried the whole time that she snuck out.
I did.
Well, back up real quick. We only had a 3-bedroom house at the time, and so when my grandparents would come stay in our room for the 3 months they would come at a time, we were in like a trailer out back, like a motorhome, not a motorhome, but like a
trailer, camper trailer.
Camper trailer.
Yeah.
And so that's where we were. We just go out to the back and that's where we'd sleep or whatever. But it was easy. Any other kid would have snuck out every day. But we were pretty good kids, I would say.
And our parents trusted us.
They trusted us.
And that was my conviction.
Totally. But she hopped over the fence. She snuck out. And I didn't know at the time, but she...
Well, she was in bed sleeping.
I didn't know at the time that you did that, but I did find out that you did that, and I could have totally thrown her under the bus. We didn't tell Mom for like years.
That's so.
And when we told her, because she totally trusted us and had this like really, really high like. I mean, she rightfully so. She really trusted that we didn't do anything wrong, and that's not a big deal. But she cried when
she cried after like 9 years later. She's like, I knew I shouldn't have made you sleep in that trailer. We were like, it's fine. Charity cried the whole time they brought her back because it was not fun to have. It was not fun to have her out there. So, but yeah, I don't know. I went off on a tangent on that, but those are all the things that she just. Kind of. Yeah,
I was.
I don't know why.
My jealousy came out in that way mostly, and then, but then I was the I'm gonna cry again. I was the proudest one in the audience when I watched her perform. So yeah, it just.
I didn't know that.
I was so proud, and well, yeah.
She was I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but Brandi was a badass in gymnastics. I watched a video that your mom or dad posted, and I was in awe of you and could not believe what I was even watching.
Oh,
because I did gymnastics when I was younger too, and it's tough.
Yeah.
And you were amazing.
Thank you.
She was. They named a beam move after you. No, but they name it. But didn't you have your own like? You were the only one that did it,
can't get it. You can't get it officially named unless you compete in an international meet. Oh. But I was the reverse planche was someone else had done it, but not many people did it, especially at a younger age. And so that's what I did on beam. So it was kind of it wasn't my skill.
But you put your toe to your head. That's where it was just yours.
Okay, yeah, but I did not compete at that level to be able to have it officially named either way. But like a lot of people didn't do that particular skill very often. Just it was a lot of flexibility, which kills me to even look at pictures now because my back I can't even bend now. But anyway, so yeah, it was. But then
you went to level 10.
Yeah,
completed nationally.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So and if you're local and have ever been in Sega Gymnastics, Brandi's name's painted on the wall.
That's all I have to show for it. But it's there.
At Sega Gymnastics.
Oh, that's awesome. How many years were you in gymnastics then?
I started when I was 8, and then I went to junior year of high school. Okay. So I had injuries that caused, I love to compete, and 2 years in a row I had injuries that caused me not to compete, and so then I was like, do I want to keep doing that? And I wanted to do it in college initially and stuff, but everything was very different than it is now. Everything is very about recruitment and the build up and all that stuff. And we were kind of babies in it. Like Sega was baby.
Yeah.
Like gymnastics club for like that. We had a couple people go, but it wasn't as big as it is now. And I just kind of got burnt out on all the work for nothing kind of thing, and so I ended up getting involved in my senior year of high school. I ended up doing song leading, and because we could tumble,
which is a cheer that like does dance moves more than
you cheer on the
today.
Sideline.
They don't have it. They have dance and they have cheer, but back in our day,
they do it.
There was
high school.
cheer and song, so you would do the same moves, but you had like a
dance
move with it.
And the halftime is like
instead of
music,
sharp,
not cheering or whatever.
So you did song and then you did cheer.
I did
not together though.
I did cheer my freshman sophomore year. I took my junior year off, and then I did song my senior year.
Okay. And then you did song.
Just senior year, yeah, because I just wanted to get involved in school. The only involvement I could do in high school was the talent show because I had no time to do any other sport or anything else because gymnastics took me away from everything. So that was like the only time anyone even saw what I did was at the talent show. I did gymnastics.
And then everyone was like, what? That's what you do.
So that was, I did that because you could tumble, and I felt like, that would be kind of give me a little bit of a fix and stuff. And I'm glad because I got to have that involvement in high school and a lot of times.
For your senior year, that was important.
But that was
you touched on, but my senior year was your sophomore year.
That's right.
And that year that I won homecoming queen, you were a princess in the homecoming sport. So that was really special.
That was fun.
We have the cutest picture of her hugging me after I won. Remember that one?
Crying. Yeah, it's in the yearbook.
It was so cute. Yeah, that was really cool.
Your parents must have been so proud.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
They're very proud parents. Anyway, I mean, I feel like we could do like move a pen and they'd be like, oh, look at how great they moved their pen. They are our biggest fans.
But it is funny because like when she was in high school and like I said, always like looking up to her and stuff, when I say Cindy Mancini, and if anyone knows Can't Buy Me Love, which a lot of people do, it was so charity. And then like for her to be, I'm like, yeah, my sister drove a white Cabriolet convertible. She was a cheerleader. She was homecoming queen. I was like, as I start to listen, you're just kind of like, it's like straight out of like a movie of the high school experience, right? Like any sort of high school thing. So
it was a small town.
But yeah, it was a small town. Well, you were also, let's not forget, your freshman year, there wasn't even a homecoming because the school was too young. Because there was nobody coming home, so they called it a fall festival instead of homecoming, and she was princess her freshman year as well. And yeah, I know. This is what I had to follow. You see?
That's hard.
Anyone can do it. You just have to.
Well, in a small town too, that homecoming, all that stuff is a big deal in a little town. Maybe in some like other cities, it's like not a big of a deal, but like it was kind of like what was exciting here because that's when they made floats. For homecoming.
I miss that.
I know.
I miss that. You can't, like when TV put in the new field and track, they wouldn't let cars on the track anymore. And they stopped doing
because it used to be dirt around.
Yeah, but it's sad. We used to do full on
floats.
We won.
Like paper mache.
In my senior year, we had the best float. It was like,
they would like have it in some warehouse and anybody in your grade could kind of go in and then like you go with your little pencil and your square piece of paper mache and glue all the little pieces
stuff
on
all the chicken wire.
Yeah. And they throw candy from it and every class had its own float. It just was so fun. Cool. I know, that was fun.
Yeah. I wish they still did that.
I know.
I think the kids would embrace it if they could do it.
We had that at my high school too. I loved it.
It was a different time. I don't know. There's so many liabilities and stuff now that everybody's afraid to do anything.
That's true.
I was telling them how I had was I telling you guys on an episode that how I had acne?
Yes.
And how Brandi called me pizza face.
Yes, she did tell us that.
And I was like, but I didn't even realize that I had it that bad.
She did not. She did not know she had it that bad.
And I was like,
she also.
I look back now, I'm like, oh my gosh, it was really bad.
And maybe I called you pizza face because I needed you to like be more bothered by it. I don't know. Probably. She was not bothered at all. She also in 8th grade, they went to. I don't know where you went before.
Disneyland.
No, before, which caused. So they went somewhere like some
maybe camp.
I don't know, somewhere where she was in the sun, and she ended up with blisters all over her lips.
The infantile.
It was all over her lips, and so she goes to Disneyland for the 8th grade graduation thing. Most kids would probably not show up or hide until it's gone. Like me when I get a cold sore, I try to hide. Right. She not only just went and could care less, she went into that hat shop and got a hat that said lips on it and owned it. Like,
that's what Rhonda was
I would never ever own that like that. Like that's where I wish I could be more like that.
Right.
My older daughter is probably a little more like that.
Yeah.
She'll own anything. She'll own anything. She doesn't care.
Yeah. Who does that?
I mean, so same thing with her face. Like she didn't even care. I mean, everybody goes out with like a lot of kids have acne and stuff, but she just didn't. She didn't let it phase her, and I think it's wonderful because you don't want them to be all self-conscious. Some things you can't help, right? And so, but she just, when you look back, you're like, I didn't even remember how bad it was.
I know, I can't believe.
But she didn't really care.
That's amazing.
She didn't care.
It's funny. So Brandi was talking about how she learned something just recently, but we didn't say what it was, so I wanted to share how. So, Brandi, she really gained her confidence in gymnastics. It brought her. I mean, she used to hide behind mom's dresses. Like she would talk to people, mom, and mom kind of touched on that, talking about the differences between Brandi and I, and how the same house, the same two parents, but so opposite as all of our kids are.
Yeah.
100%. But once she gained her confidence, she was getting attention at gymnastics, but then after she graduated, I don't know, but you used to go country western dancing all the time. So back then, if you go to the Stampede now, you do see a little bit of this. But back then it was like super tight jeans and, like crop tops. I guess it's the same now.
Yeah.
Actually. A lot of, yeah. And so Brandi would, she didn't still live in town, but I did. And then she would come and visit and go out dancing or whatever. And I remember this one time that she was at the house and she asked me, she would ask me, what do you think? How do you think this looks? I don't do that. I still don't do that to this day. I don't ask, but that's a very normal, common thing that people will be like, do you like this? How does this look? But Brandi would ask me all the time, how does this look? And she'd be super, her body was just perfect figure and she looked great. But I'm she can see in the mirror that she looks great. Why does she keep asking me, how does it look? How does it look? And it bugged me. I was she's totally fishing for compliments. And so I was stubborn in my brain. I'm it's fine.
I don't even remember this, by the way.
Of course not, because it wasn't as significant as it was to
me. I do that all the time.
But, and you have to remember how I felt growing up, once the world started in my mind revolving around her, it's and it didn't, not that it continued after gymnastics, but she gained a lot of confidence and she was not shy Brandi anymore. And you're still she's come out of her shell a ton, even though there's things you won't do, you're still way more outgoing than you were then. So anyway, she had all this confidence and she's asking me how she looks. And I'm thinking, you obviously can see that you look great. But I never said that. I would just go, yeah, that's fine. And I would just carry on. And this one time, she literally, she looked knockout. She was going dancing. And I was so frustrated that time. And I, at the time, was going to a counselor for something else I'll tell you about later. But I said to the counselor, I said, it really bugs me that my sister's always asking me for compliments. She's always fishing for compliments, asking me how she looks and da-da-da-da, and I'm just all annoyed. And my counselor, Debbie, looked at me and she goes, did you ever think you're the one person she needs compliments from? I missed a key part. Everyone gave her compliments all the time. So that was my thing. It's she gets compliments all the time. She knows she looks good. But she said, did you ever think you're the one person she needs compliments from? And I just was ugh. And I just totally started crying. And then I just told Brandi this a couple weeks ago. But I said, so the next time, so Debbie goes, why don't you just compliment her? And I'm okay. All right. So the next time I was around her, I complimented her. And that was the last time she fished for a compliment from me. It was she really just wanted to know, you have your big sibling. I had big sisters, but I didn't grow up with them in the house constantly. Well, and when I was older,
we're only 2 years apart too.
Yeah, we're only 2 years apart. They're 5 and 6 years older than us. Yeah. And during my older years, they were adults out in the world, so it was just different timing and stuff. But I know that so many times the younger sibling, looks up to the older one, and you don't really see things from that perspective if you're in it, if you're the older one.
And you're young, you don't know to have that perspective.
So I felt that was a really healing time for me, and I saw her differently. Now I don't, from that point on, it wasn't that she was fishing for compliments. She just wants her older sister's approval.
Yeah.
So that was really significant.
I did not subconsciously do that. Because I don't even remember doing that.
Well, and
I would do it a girlfriend. Hey, how does this look or whatever? But I don't remember. I did not think of the fact that I needed her approval. But I guess
and sometimes it's. Most of the time things like that aren't conscious. It's more of a subconscious thing. Anyway, but after I think I moved out of the house after I graduated. You were still in the house. And we kind of had some time, like we kind of had some years that we weren't as like together and spent as much time together. But then as we got a little older, I think we lived together as adults.
We did for a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
For a little bit.
oh, and wait, let's tell about the dog
I was
story.
just going to say, we made
Yes.
some really stupid decisions.
Yes, we did. Our stupidest. Sorry to all of the dog lovers out there. Just forgive us in advance. But we didn't do anything harmful. But we were down at the time. The Escondido Mall was the closest mall, so we went down the mall and we were shopping in the mall. And you know that song, How Much Is That Doggy in the Window? Well, they had the pet store there, and we walked by, and there's this little blue-eyed husky. Oh, so cute puppy. And so Brandi and I were like, oh my gosh, we had one dog growing up that lived at the dad's store.
Yeah. Let's not forget we were in a
store.
2-bedroom apartment.
Yes,
We were not in a house.
Yes, we were with a balcony.
With the balcony, yeah.
A little tiny balcony. So we were like, we wanted this dog. Well, they tell us that you could finance the dog because it was like $1,400 or something.
It was so dumb.
And we were like, we can finance a dog? So what did we do? We financed the dog.
You did, Charity?
Yes, and we brought that dog home.
We were like 18 and 20 though.
Yeah,
we were not.
And we
19
never
20?
had a dog, like indoor dog and all that. So we bring that dog home.
It's
and
a
we're
husky.
not allowed to have dogs at our apartment.
And it's going to grow to be really big.
Yes.
Obviously. It's
And
not a little
huskies
loud.
And it's a puppy, so it barks and it scratches and it's destroying things in the house. And then we would have to go to work, so we would put it out on the balcony
Oh my goodness.
during the day, and then it would yap all day.
So stupid.
I'm surprised we did not get in trouble from the apartment complex.
No,
though.
we didn't.
Nobody ratted on us, but
We read it on ourselves.
we were like, how long did we have that sweet little thing?
I think it might have been
A week?
maybe a few.
Maybe.
It might have lasted a few. Maybe 2? I don't
Maybe.
remember.
Oh my God.
I
But
tried to
Dad
block it
came
out.
out.
I'm just kidding.
Dad came out to visit, and we were telling about the saga, but now we don't know what to do with this dog, this poor dog, but now we financed it.
Did we try to
Give
return
away.
it?
I'm just
I couldn't remember.
So Dad goes, Dad.
Oh, that's right. Dad.
Probably. Forgive him too. But
Oh gosh.
he
Right.
says, well, take the dog back. I'm like, you can't take the dog back. You can't return a dog. And he's like,
Why
yes, you
not?
can. And he said, so he goes, come take it. So we get in our car.
He said if you leave it.
Well, he said if they touch it, they accept it back. So
Oh my
we
God.
go into the pet store, and he puts the dog on the counter and lets go of it. So of course the lady has to grab it because it's up on the counter. So he's like, just turn around and walk away. And I'm like, so we turn up, and the lady's like, excuse me, you cannot leave this dog here. And he's like, let's go. I'm like, we can't do this. So I don't remember. We went back and got the dog, but I don't think we told Dad.
No, I don't think we did either.
But did we leave it there, and then they called us, and I think we kind of claimed that Dad was insane. We're like, we're sorry, our dad. Oh, we didn't go in the pet store. He did it.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't remember dropping the dog off.
No, he
That's a
went
long
in the
time
pet store.
ago.
So when they called me, I was like, sorry, he's a little cuckoo, and don't worry, we're coming to get the dog. So we went back and got the dog, and then thank goodness Nikki Smith from Sega, one of the gymnasts there, they had tons of dogs and property, and so we were selling the dog to pay off our loan for the dog.
Oh my God.
And graciously, Nikki's family bought the dog back from us, so we were able to pay our loan back, and we learned
They
good
fell in
lesson.
love with that dog.
Yeah, and she was their baby. They bred her.
Did they?
Yeah. And we got, like, Nikki would give us pictures.
Yeah, she would send pictures before Facebook happened.
It was like we had an open adoption.
But they loved that dog. And the dog lived for a long time, like 15 years or so.
Yeah. So
With them?
she ended up with a great home. And was very much loved. And not that we didn't love her, but we just didn't have a life for
just
her.
not a proud
It wasn't
moment.
fair to her that we had nowhere for her to go.
We didn't know
so
what we
that
were
was
doing.
a very mature dog owner decision to give it to a better home.
Eventually,
Thank you.
I agree.
I was just like, what did they do? I was scared.
No.
Eventually. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. What other crazy things have we got ourselves into? I mean, the funniest thing with Brandi and I is that she knows what I'm thinking before I think it. And
True.
And she is like, it's like I'm a professional comedian and she is the best audience.
No.
She cracks up.
I do.
To the point where she can't breathe. And half the time I'm just laughing with her and I don't know exactly what triggered her, but it's like...
It's usually stupid.
It's usually something stupid.
And it's like just a comment she'll make under her breath or something like that that will just trigger me. And nobody has ever been able to make me laugh like that. My daughter Molly now can get me just like that too, but this one, I don't even know. Sometimes it would make no sense to anybody else, but it is gut laughter that I can't control.
It's the best.
And it's usually when you're not supposed to do it.
Yes.
There is a story.
Yeah, okay.
Because of that, off of that, we were at our family's, I don't even know if it was uncle or cousin, someone's funeral.
Oh, yeah.
Weddings, we've done it many times too. Weddings are a little bit more appropriate.
Oh, we just did it last year at a wedding.
We did.
Oh gosh.
It's weddings and funerals when you're not supposed to be even talking, but the funeral's embarrassing because you're not supposed to be laughing. But at least the wedding is a happy thing. But usually she'll do something or look at me during the ceremony or the service that I now can't stop laughing. And now you have to quietly laugh, but when you're hysterical, it makes it worse because then you're trying not to do it. Yeah. Then the tears come down. And then if I even look at it, back up. We used to get in trouble at the dinner table.
Yeah, I think that's where it started because we weren't allowed to laugh.
Laugh at the table.
You can't laugh at the table.
So there was a picture of that mom had that was like glass, and so if you could look through it, her face would be like all warped in it.
Distorted.
And I don't know why that would make me laugh. And so we would be laughing, and then she would get mad at us for laughing.
Then
so
we couldn't get down from
more.
the table until we stopped laughing.
Yeah.
And we could never stop laughing. So I think that started like
a long time ago
for us. Yeah.
But the weddings and the funerals were so bad. And really, the funeral was the worst one when we were at. I don't know. I want to say their name. I don't know. It was one of Dad's family members, but she was kicking me for me to stop laughing, and I wanted to tell her to stop. Like, don't look at me, don't touch me, don't do anything, because it's the only way I can like compose myself. But every time she would even tap me, I would lose it more, and it is brutal to try to be mute when you're cracking up like that. But it's always at the wrong time. I mean, we do it when it's a good time too, but usually the hardest laughs are the most inappropriate times. And it's not that we're laughing at anything. It might be that somebody's hair looks funny from behind.
It might just be like, or a tag sticking up. It doesn't have to be anything
stupid. It's like, I don't even know what it does that triggers it, but it happens a lot. So
so it's fun. We have a lot of fun together. We've traveled together with the kids.
Yes, we have traveled with the kids.
And it was fun because we haven't really got into my whole connection with Italy, but it was fun to have Brandi come to Italy with me. That was her first time, and
that was without kids.
That was without kids. That was with girlfriends, and it was so much fun. And just to share like that part of my life with her was so special. And
the one time when we traveled to Rhode Island.
With the kids.
I have 3 now, but I only had 2 at the time, and she had her 2. But we had 2 of them were like under 2 years old, so they didn't need a seat. They were lap kids, and the other 2 had their seats. But the 2 of us then had a kid on our lap, so we weren't really helpful to each other. When one had to go to the bathroom, or the other one, like you ended up now with. We had stewardess help us, or flight attendants now, I don't know if that's the correct term, but they had to help us by holding our kid because we do have the little ones who need help to go to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. It was so stressful. Like
and Brandi's very like, what type personality? Type A? I'm a go with the flow, like spontaneous, and Brandi's very planned, very structured.
Very type A. Yeah. And she is very not. Yeah. Not just then, but like every time she would travel to Orange County to my house.
Oh yeah.
And she'd bring the kids. No diapers. No snacks. Nothing.
Well, why would I need it when you have it?
Well, let's not forget that Luca is older than Mackenzie.
Oh, yeah.
So Luca's in bigger diapers. But she wouldn't bring diapers. So she's squeezing him into these diapers. And Kenzie was super tiny to boot. And then and Luca was kind of roly-poly-ish. So, I mean, the tabs barely touch on these diapers. But every time I was like, you didn't bring a diaper? I might have one in my center console.
Oh my God, Charity.
It would give me so much anxiety.
Well, then my kids would just ask, they would just go direct to Auntie Brandi instead of asking me, like, Mom, I'm hungry, or a snack, or whatever. They just knew Auntie Brandi would have everything. So
Totally. I packed my diaper bag like the night before.
Me too.
And it was.
And you pack it like Costco.
I do. They're snacks. But then.
Stresses me out right now so bad.
Well, yeah, try living with it. But she, it's funny because she, I would, even if I knew like, oh, I'm going to meet up with Charity, we're going to go to the restaurant with the kids or whatever, I then had 4 of everything because I knew she didn't have anything every single time.
So you see, she enabled it. Because I didn't need anything because she had it.
Oh.
And when I did, when you have your first kid, you like load up shop, right? You got everything and all the baby showers stock you up. By the time I had Logan, I would maybe throw a diaper and wipes in my purse. And that was it. No diaper bag.
But she kind of did that with Luca, so don't let her trick
okay.
you.
Okay, so maybe I got over it really quick.
Yeah.
It's a lot to lug around.
Yeah, I just did it all for you.
But she's still like, I would go to like when the kids were in flag football or whatever, I would have a chair. Most of the time I would forget water for them. Brandi still, like, even as the kids were in high school, she had the whole wagon, she had everything, she'd set up her canopy. Yep. I was just sitting in the sun. Like, it is so funny how different we are.
Well, and so that saying all that with how she just flies by the seat of her pants, she also is the one who Luca or Logan, one of the two, like they always say, don't potty train your kids when there's a change, like if you're going on vacation or there's a new baby or whatever. She gets a kid who potty trains himself when they went to Italy for a month. I'm like, why does she get that kid?
Just 2.
And
no way.
Yeah,
she's like, of course you get that.
Of course you get the kid who potty trains themselves. Yeah, that's how it works.
How lucky are you?
Oh, I was very, very lucky. And he never had an accident.
It's a good thing, because
after that, I know.
So this is unheard of, especially for a boy.
I know.
On vacation.
Yes.
Yeah. It was on the airplane, and he said, Mommy, I have to go potty. And I was like,
what?
I'm thinking, no. And so I go, okay, do you want to go to the bathroom? Yeah. So we walk to the bathroom, he sits on the toilet, pees, comes back, and I said that. Alex was like, yeah, he just went to the bathroom.
Not because she trained him, let's be
And then we were at dinner, we were at a beach house we had rented on an island, and he goes, Mommy, I have to go potty. And I said, okay, go. I literally just sent him in the toilets in Italy tend to be a little higher. Yeah. Climbs, I watched him, but he climbed up on the toilet, turned around, sat down, and peed. I was like, this is incredible.
Actually,
anyway.
It doesn't shock me.
I know.
It doesn't.
So, anyways, all right. Well, do you have any last words? We're about to wrap up.
But I love you.
No? I love you too. And I'm gonna have you back.
Okay.
It wasn't that painful, was it?
No, but it does make me a little nervous.
You did so good.
Yeah,
awesome.
You did
You guys
great.
are the cutest sisters ever.
Thank
you guys.
Thank you. Love you too. All right, everybody. Well, that's not all. Next week we will be back. We'll be back. With bumper shoot. We'll be back. I don't even remember my tagline now. All right. Well, that was fun. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.